Sorry about that. It's okay. So we're going to start off and go back to kicking this off when it comes to some of the other blocks. Now, we talked about the blocks as far as your father wounds and the link between money and earning and self worth and how that's linked to the father wounds. And that's a big connection a lot of people aren't familiar with, that the feminine is connected to the receiving, your ability to receive with ease and not feeling like you have to burn out, overwork. And one of the things that you made very clear when we talked about making more money, you're like, I don't want a second job. I don't want it. It's like, okay, girl, I'm gonna keep you in your feminine. I'm gonna keep you in your receiving energy. Okay. I'm like, Tammy, I didn't say you got to get another job. That's an option, but okay, we can figure this out. But then the masculine is connected to your beliefs and your ability to earn and to take action or to set
Mhm.
boundaries, to step into your worth, to ask for more. All of those things are connected to the masculine. So when we have these father wounds or these not just father, I'll just say masculine wounds, right? Because it can come through the father, it can also come through a mother who operated more in her masculine. That can cause some masculine wounds as well. It affects our ability to feel worthy, to feel deserving, to feel good enough. It can also cause us to overwork, to operate from places of stress and burnout and constantly feel like we have to do. So for some people what that can look like is overwork and burnout and always doing. For other people, having those masculine wounds can look like avoiding doing more, asking for more, earning more, because there's wounds around that. So as we unpack the father wounds and as you start 17 forgiveness, when we first started off that second round of coaching, one of the first things that we did was discuss, okay, how are you gonna make some more money? Right? Because here's the thing, when we have money blocks, sometimes we think that it's just like, I'm not budgeting enough, I'm not saving enough.
Mhm.
I got poor spending habits. And while some of that, there may be some truth to that, sometimes we just simply aren't making enough money.
Mhm.
That's just what it is, right? We got a money problem, we got an income problem, and we just
Mhm.
simply have to earn more. Does that mean that once we start earning more, we still want to make sure that we are practicing good money habits? Yes. But sometimes it's also you need to earn more, right?
Mhm.
And step into your belief that more is available for you. So one
Mhm.
of the first things that we did when we went over what you desire is your vision, all those things. One of the things that you, of course, wanted to make more money, but you didn't fully believe that more money was actually available to you.
Mhm.
And so we set out on a journey first to just start expanding your subconscious mind, start expanding your beliefs and see what opportunities are actually available. Like, can you actually make more money? Because you didn't fully believe that you were actually qualified. And
Mhm.
that was a journey helping you to get comfortable. And you're still working on that because I know that that's something that's still like, even though I got the upgrade, like, how did I get here? Am I really worthy and deserving? Right. So there's still getting adjusted to that. But let's talk about that. So you had to start even finding opportunities because you didn't think that more money at that scale was actually available in your career field. So let's
Mhm.
talk about that. Like, how just you making that decision and start going on that hunt and seeing what was available.
Yeah, you had asked me my number, like if you could make however much money, where I could really just like live the life that I wanted, and I said like 150,
What was the
but
first number? Because there was a much lower number. What was the first number?
maybe around 80 or so, I think
Mm-hmm.
70, 80, somewhere up in there. And I thought six figures, I would probably, like need to be a dean or a director or something like that, which was not in my career plan. But as you challenged me to be like, step into my higher level and, my higher self and what that would be, I started looking at salaries of the people that were in what I wanted to be. I've always wanted to work in medical research. Um, and when I started looking at those salaries of librarians that were in that field, I realized like, oh my God, like Oh my God. They are uh more educated, more specialized than like a librarian at a liberal arts college, which is where I'm at. And it was like, oh, it really opened up my eyes. This is accessible
Mm-hmm.
to me.
Mm-hmm.
This was what I went into this field to do. And I guess sort of again, scarcity, unworthiness may have just kept me in my comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
I'll stay at this small liberal arts college. I knew it deep in my soul that that wasn't my final uh, career or where I wanted to retire. But it was like if you'd have got on the path to where you really always wanted to go, this is where you can be. Like what you desired was not outside of your reach.
Mm-hmm.
Like yeah, it's there. You can do that. And so it was like okay, yeah, I gotta get back to my original dream of what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And it helped me see what's possible. And not that, I'm like underpaid or anything like that, but um for where I am in my career and at the type of school that I work at, I'm about average. But it was like that really opened up my eyes to like there is so much
Mm-hmm.
more. And that really gave me the sort of inspiration to be like, yeah, this is what you need to do. You need to get back to that that dream that God put in your heart of why you went back to school and got this degree in the first place. So it's like, oh, it's not outside of my reach at all. It's not outside of my reach. You are not. Again, that showed how much scarcity. But when you were challenging me, abundance.
Mm-hmm.
What's out there? What is? And it was like, no, this is not outside of my reach at
Right.
all.
100%. Because when we're in that limited scarcity mindset, right? When we're operating on that limitation, you might have a dream, you might have a vision, it's something that you desire, but you don't believe it's available to you. It's available for them. It's
Mm-hmm.
available for everybody else, but you don't fully feel like you're worthy, you're qualified. How am I going to make this happen?
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes what we think is we got to go through all these other things to be
Yeah.
worthy and deserving of it.
Mm-hmm.
So once you realize, I think your first number was between like, I don't even think it was, it might have been 80. I think the first number you said was between like 65 and like 75 or something like that. And I was like, ask for more. Like go bigger. You're like, okay, like 150. And I'm like, okay. You're like, I can't get that much. That's not available. And then I think you came back, you're like, oh, there were positions that were like 120 in the field. I didn't know that was
Yeah.
even available. Right. So just seeing that there was more available, I feel like that really put more of a fire underneath you to at least start testing the waters and being like, okay, like I think this is possible. Now,
Mm-hmm.
there were a lot of other steps that you also took along the way. Like you started signing up for, you took I think it was African American librarian class.
Mm-hmm.
You started taking that class, right? You started taking other personal development classes. You started doing things even with your health, right? So you started taking action in the direction that was putting you on the bridge to where you wanted to go. You started tapping into becoming that next version of yourself and getting in alignment. Now, you started applying to positions, and actually, the first position, well, you tell the story. So, the first position that you applied for, you got the call back, and that actually kind of sent you into like a little bit of panic.
Yeah, yeah, I really committed to like going after jobs that align with my goals and what I really wanted to do. And this medical university was always sort of like, wow, that would be the ideal place to work at. Always been in the back of my mind as the ideal place to work at. It's in my home state. I wouldn't be far from home or anything like that. I'm a state employee, so like I still have the same benefits and all of this stuff. But I'm like, here's a medical school right here in your home state and in a city that I've always enjoyed. visiting. I was in the back of my mind, I'd be like, yeah, that would be great. So when they had a job posted, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go for it. I had applied probably almost 10 years ago for a job there. Um, you know, kind of fresh out of library school, not still didn't have a lot of library experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't get it at that time. But this time I was like, here it is. And I applied for it. And I kind of knew I would probably at least get,
An interview.
a screening interview. Like, yeah, I can make it to that level. Um, and then when I got called for the screening interview, it was like, okay, I did my best. And it took a long time for me to hear back to be invited on campus. It was like 2 months.
Yeah.
And
Well, let's
I,
talk about that. Let's talk about that because there was, so you took the action towards what you wanted,
mm-hmm,
got the first interview, but then
mm-hmm,
there was a period of stillness and quiet and anxiety and fear. And a lot of the coaching that we did was in between
mm-hmm,
beginning and the end, right? Or at least
mm-hmm,
you getting on that bridge to where you wanted to go. And so in between was where we had to unpack. And that's really where we did a lot of the unpacking of the father wounds, unpacking of
mm-hmm,
the forgiveness, of the self acceptance, of the self forgiveness. We also had to unpack some childhood experiences that you had
mm-hmm,
that also reflected your self worth or you believing that love or money wasn't for women like you.
mm-hmm.
And so those memories and those were, and I think that was also one a very powerful session for me to be able to support you with, because it sat with me. I still think about it all the time because having that belief and having some underlying beliefs, subconscious beliefs that you may not even fully be aware of, that you decided at such a young age due to experiences that love or money or status or popularity, any of those things aren't for someone like you. Locking into those beliefs at such a young age can truly keep you limited for years without you even realizing it. So when we started to unpack that and we touched on some of the beliefs that you developed as a teenager about who those things are for, how have you, even still, I'm sure it still comes up sometimes, but how has, what was that like processing that and just even surfacing that and sitting with it? Because I remember that was a pretty emotional session that we did that day as well.
Yeah, everybody to me, people who made more money than me were more attractive or they were smarter, like, if you're a beautiful woman, boy, you can access so much, in finances or somebody, it opens up more avenues. And I didn't feel like, oh, that's for those type um, women. And I didn't feel like that. I've always been sort of a shy introvert, so that also didn't help. And then, I'm not an engineer or a lawyer or a doctor or something like that where you like coming out making that type money. So I just felt like, oh, I'm just average. I'll never get to that level. And so that's kind of how I meant, like, that's acceptable. That's for those type people, not somebody like me.
Mhm. And so once we worked through that belief and we talked about it, we processed it, we did a visualization that day. I think we did the generational
Mhm,
money blocks visualization, and then we started going back into just some things that happened in childhood, your mom's relationship with money, some, I guess I'm very careful with the word trauma because I think when people think trauma, they think about like something that has to be super extreme. But trauma can just be unexpected moves. Trauma can be the way people talk about money. It can be a card getting declined and you feeling embarrassed. Trauma for me, with my abandonment wounds that I always still work through to this day, trauma for me was going to Kmart with my mom and getting lost in Kmart and me having to go to always being the kid that had to go to the front customer service. Say, can you page my mom? I can't find my mom in the store, right? That's a form of trauma that will trigger abandonment. As innocent as it is, my mom was still in the store, still showed up, but being that kid that had to, or the last kid to get picked up sometimes, right? That triggered a lot of abandonment wounds with me. So when we talk about childhood trauma or trauma that can happen, it can really happen at any point and age in life. But the events don't have to be something that's so life shattering, but it's just how you perceived and processed it based upon where you were at that time or the lens that you saw life through. So for you, some of the things that happened early childhood around money, around moving, around friendships, all of those things played a part in how you perceived, like you said, who, whether it was money was for, or who relationships or love or men or any of those things were for. And so that really showed up. So as we process those things, how has that shifted in you since? Like, are you still working through those? Is that something that you feel a lot, at least a lot lighter with? Like, how is that reflected now?
I feel a lot lighter and shifting through because um, you know, getting this job now, I'm much closer to the path
Mm-hmm.
that I want to be. And like, yes, it is acceptable to you, and seeing a clear path of how I can get there. Um, so yeah, much lighter. I'm just and much more believing what's available. That's what abundant mindset does, like lets you see um what's available. I was so much in just depression and just scarcity and just, oh, that's for other people. But now I'm on the path that will get me there so much faster. And it's like, yeah, when you know what's
100%.
available to you, and go for it. Mm-hmm.
The things that we talked about when we first started working together was you wanted a trip to Ghana. You wanted to go to Ghana for your 50th birthday. You wanted to get a townhouse. You wanted to get a dog. You wanted to move to another city so that you could actually start dating and have a better dating life because your town, you felt like you didn't have a lot of options there. You wanted to make more money. You wanted to not really change careers, but you knew that in order to make more money, you were going to have to
Mm-hmm.
upgrade your career. So out of those things, the only thing that you really have left is you got to get the dog. You got to get the golden doodle. And then you got to, when you get to your new city, because now you have been able to upgrade your career, which has been like over a 30K upgrade, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
amazing. That's a total life shift. If you would have seen my face when you sent me the message, like I literally jumped up and down. I felt like I got the job. Like I was so excited for you. You got the townhouse now. You secured that. You secured moving to another city that has more options and more going on. So you're no longer in your small city.
Yeah.
Secured the trip to Ghana. So you'll be heading there in a few months to celebrate your 50th birthday. You literally have gotten on the path to everything that you wrote down in less than a year.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Just amazing. The accountability, the coaching, to just let me know it's possible. And helping me work through the blocks that told me that it wasn't. And so yeah, I'm still sort of in disbelief. I'm still like, is this a dream? Did it really happen?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, uh yeah, it's amazing. Like,
Amazing. It's amazing.
hmm
So when you got that call back after 2 months of silence, because it was getting to you, and we
hmm
had to talk through that and work through that, and after the 2 months of silence, and you did get the opportunity to come on campus to do the second round interview. Now, working through that those few weeks, I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks between. I think it was about 3 weeks.
yeah.
So what was coming up for you during that period? Because there was a lot of nervous system regulation that was coming up, and a lot of fear, and a lot of not being worthy, almost like a trick was being played on you,
Mm-hmm.
that you weren't really supposed to be selected for this opportunity. But you also started to realize that all the support that you needed was already there. And so that was amazing to witness as well. So can you just share a little bit about that?
Yeah, for I had to do a presentation as part of my interview, and in the prior interviews, you always like demonstrated like library instruction. This presentation was about, my ideas about what I could do to advance research and teaching at this university. And every uh imposter syndrome came up.
Mm-hmm.
Like these people are more educated than me. These people have all kind of letters after their name. They have PhDs. They have years of experience, and I every imposter syndrome came up. It freaked me out. Um, and so one thing with all this work, I'm not going to be afraid to ask for help. And so, mentioned it in a ladies group that I'm with, and one woman said, "Hey, I can help you with your presentation if you need any help. Let me know." And I said, "You know what? Here's somebody offering. If God has put this person in my path to say, hey, I can help you." And I said, I sure will. At first, I was like, "Well, I'll work on it." And I'll let her look over it or whatever. And then when I found out she had just recently defended her dissertation, I was like, okay, yes, this is somebody I really need to look at my presentation. If she's done that, she can definitely help me. And then I was freaking out over the presentation itself. I was practicing at home by myself and freezing up and just losing my thought. And again, another friend who my mind is so I'm so out of my mind that I'm forgetting she taught public speaking. And I'm like, she's right there. She was like, "You can practice your presentation with me. Come over to the house and you can practice." And I was sitting there like, oh my God, of course. I could reach out to her. And really, when I went over to her house to practice with her, most of it was her calming me down,
Mm-hmm.
praying with me, meditating with me, having me write affirmations to just settle myself down. And she said something that put everything in perspective. She said, "You're just looking at this presentation." Because really, when I saw the presentation, I saw nothing else on the interview agenda. I just saw that. She's like, "You're looking at this one part, but you're not looking at everything else. They're going to be looking at everything." She said, "You could have a candidate that could walk in there and kill the presentation. But then all the other parts of the interview, they may not be a good fit. They may not, they're looking at," and I said, "You're right. You are so right." And so and she's like, "You don't have to memorize anything. You're talking about what you know and what you're passionate about." And so I was able to practice her about she had prayed and with me for so long that we only had like 10 minutes for me to practice because we had to be at an event. And she's like, "I can tell how passionate you are about this. So you're not making up anything. You're not having to memorize something. Just speak from what you know." And I was like, "You're right." And so my nerves were calming, and my other friend who helped with the presentation that helped me flow
Mm-hmm.
through. She did edits on my PowerPoint, like just to take the time to just like upgrade my PowerPoint presentation. And so I was just like, just thanking God, like you had these people
Mm-hmm.
in around who were available.
Mm-hmm.
And, that gave me the confidence that it was mine. And even, like also through our coaching, your coaching has always been about you know, being intuitively led and really tuning in. And
Mhm.
in my intuition, deep in my soul, I did feel like this job was mine. Like I was like, this is my job.
This is yours.
Um, but but I would also be like open, like if it is no, I did my best. And you another thing you kept saying to me is, if it's not this, it's something else. If it's not this, it's something better. So keep applying, keep doing whatever. And I had to like, if it is no, that means it's something else. It's something better out there. That's part of that abundant mindset. I can't just put all my eggs like I can't see anything else other than this job right here. Like, no, I can't. I can't be there. I can't just put all the eggs in one basket thinking, well, if it's no over here, to be no everywhere.
Right.
Um, so yeah, just seeing how the people were already there to help me, that was just
Right.
more
Once you
confidence
started
that
stepping into who you needed to be
yeah.
and you started getting
Mm,
in alignment with that, you start like the veil was lifted for you to realize
yeah.
everything you wanted, everything you, and you also left out the part that on the board for the interview was also someone that you had met years before. So she's
Yeah.
also on the board. So literally everyone, like your support team, was already around you waiting for you to
Yeah.
step into this version, to step into your vision. And then once you made that decision and you started getting in alignment with it was just like it was right there for you. Like you said, your soul already knew. And
Yeah.
you not ignoring your soul's desire, you stepping into belief in yourself. That opened up the opportunity. And then you got the job. So now give the people the update because now you got the job, the move. It got a lot has shifted really in that solid about 3 to 4 months, like the last 3 to 4 months, like everything has shifted. Did this time last year, would you have thought that you'd be moving in a couple of weeks to a new city,
Mhm.
all the things, the house, the upgrade, the career, the money, all of the things, Ghana, and you just went skydiving for your birthday? That was so how has the last couple of weeks or the last month been processing this shift?
Yeah, it's been unreal. It's been so real. Yeah, had I not made that call to you, I probably just would have. I don't even know if I'd have even been looking for the job. I've been kind of looking, kind of doing that, but with your accountability and all of that, it was like, okay, how are we gonna shift into this next person? So yeah, I mean, like I had the interview, and my birthday was the following week after the interview, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, wow, what if they called me on my birthday and offer me the job? And on my birthday I had the text from the director to call her, and I knew then that I had it, because if I hadn't had it, they would have sent a letter in the mail or sent a nice little polite email.
Right.
And I was like, this she's and I told her, I said, this today is my birthday. You're calling me on my birthday. So it's like the best birthday present. Because I was even thinking, I was like, well, I wonder if I get a new job for my birthday. And so yeah, so this is the first time I've had to like had to move first and go find a place to stay, and then start a job and all of that. So yeah, I mean, finding a place to stay wasn't, went smoothly. Finding something that fit what I wanted to pay, uh, you know fit smoothly. Had to still do some of our exercises to work me through some
Mhm.
uh abundant stuff, like, yes, I can do this. I can do this. I gotta so that and so yeah, it's like this time, next month, a month from today, I will be in a new city and selling into a new place to stay, and so it's just surreal that at age 50, doing this. It also is not too late,
Yeah.
it'd have been great if I was 30 years old going through this, but at 50 I can still start I can still have new jobs, new beginnings. I can still work another 15, 20 years or whatever, and so it's just unbelievable. It's yeah, I'm still like, did that just happen? I still have this, that.
I'm so happy for you and so proud of you because like I said, we did a lot of inner work. We did
Hmm.
a lot of internal shifting, emotional releasing. Um really quickly, out of all the visualizations and the exercises, what do you think like what was one that stood out for you or that you felt like was most helpful for you?
The forgiveness one was really big because I was deep in regret for over like 2 years. Could not forgive myself for some decisions that I made, and the forgiveness module and the visualization was like, staying stuck in unforgiveness. You can't wire your brain to think of new ideas and new ways to move forward. That really, like, if I keep ruminating and stuck on what I did before, I can't get new ideas for what to do for the future. And it's like, yeah, I can't. Now I look back on those decisions. It actually, you know, now that I'm moving, it is much easier to like get up and move without trying to worry about selling the house and
That's the
and
first
all
time
of
I
that
heard you
stuff.
say that.
Yeah.
That's the first time I heard you say that. And I
Hmm.
love that you have made peace and you have reframed that whole experience. That if that did not happen, it would have probably have tied you to that job, tied you to that city, kept you there. You wouldn't have the ability, the capacity, or the courage to go after a new opportunity because you would have been like, well, what about my job? I own my house. I can't leave my. So I love that you reframe that experience. That's a big deal for you to be able to reframe that experience so that you created a new story around it. So
Yeah.
you got this. I'm so proud of you for that. Like, that's a big deal because you not ruminating on that past, reframe the story because you're absolutely right. If you would have still had that house and if that didn't happen, you may have been tied and not stepped
Yeah.
into all these other things. So, look how perfect that all
Yeah.
worked out for you.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Absolutely.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing this. I'm just like, I can't wait to hear more because
Yeah.
this was just like the next step, right? But then more is still available, more is still coming for you. So this is just the beginning, but you did the work. You worked on yourself, you did the forgiveness, you worked on the father wounds, you worked on your beliefs and your scarcity mindset, your relationship with that, even a lot of the energy shedding that we did,
Hmm.
you cleaning out house. And I'm sure now with the move, you doing even more,
Hmm.
but letting go of things that no longer align, no longer serve. That's been a lot of the work. So thank you so much for
Thank
sharing your
you.
testimony. And thank you for allowing me to support you in this journey, for reaching out and having the courage to reach out to me that day and make the investment in yourself and see yourself as being worthy of the investment. So thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of your story.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. It was just God ordained that or you came into my heart that day to reach out to and got me on the path. So yeah, I thank you so much for the accountability, the coaching, the guidance, to challenge me when I needed to be challenged, would not let me wallow in despair or pity or none of that. So thank you. Thank you so much too.
Thank you, everyone that's listening to this. I hope this story was inspirational to you. That no matter your circumstance, your age, your income, any of that, all those things are just limitations. As long as you have the clear vision and you're willing to do the inner work, step into it, release those old patterns, those old blocks, so much more is available to you. So, thank you so much for listening in today. And we'll talk to you soon. Have a good day.